Good morning. It is day 12, AMI Math with Miss Robinette. Yesterday we multiplied a whole number times a fraction. Today we're going to multiply a fraction by a fraction. Alright? It's going to work exactly like we did yesterday. We're going to multiply our numerators together, and then we're going to multiply our denominators together, and we're going to see if we can simplify. Okay? Now, if you're a little bit more math savvy and you tried the added approach yesterday, and you tried to simplify inside the problem and then multiply, you can do that again today. Okay? Very first problem is 4/9 times 3/8. All right, I'm going to show you both ways you can work it, and then you decide which one you like the best. Okay? So when we work these, if you work in it just the traditional way, you're going to multiply and you're going to go straight across. All right? So you're going to have 4 times 3, and then you're going to have 9 times 8. All right? 4 times 3 is 12, and 9 times 8 is 72. So when we write that down, now we have to assess this and ask ourselves, can we take groups out of this? All right? If you're really math savvy, you know you can skip count by 12s and get to 72. Some of you may not be. That's okay. What do we know about both of them? We both know that they're even. So if we wanted to, we could divide them by 2. You could look at it and try to think of some other things they might have in common. You might be able to quickly come up with something else. That's really up to you. So if you want to start with 2, start with 2. Okay? All right, so 12 divided by 2 is 6. And 72 divided by 2 is 36. All right? And you may have to do a little bit of work to get there, but maybe not here. Did you see you could skip count by 12 and land on 72? You should be able to see here that you can skip count by 6 and land on 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So at this spot, at this moment, if you wanted to, you could quit skip counting by 2s and you could skip count by 6s. So let's pretend that you see that. All right. So let's divide by 6 right here. Okay. So we would do 6 divided by 6 and 36 divided by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 36 divided by 6 is 6. So the simplified answer for this problem is 1/6. Let's see if we get the answer the same way. I'll leave this up, but let's take this problem and simplify it first before we multiply and see if this is the answer we get to start with. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite the problem over here. 4/9 times 3/8. Now, remember, numerators and denominators, okay? We can look at 4/9 and try to find things that we can factor out or take groups out of. And then we have 3/8 here that we can try to take groups out of. When I'm looking at this, I know I can't skip count by 3 and land on 8, and I know I can't skip count by 4 and land on 9. So the vertical approach of simplifying these fractions with numerators and denominators, that didn't work. So remember, yesterday I told you we could also look at it diagonally like an X, and we can see if the numerator and the denominator, or the numerator and the denominator, if they share anything, and then do a factoring process, okay? So when we look at this, we know that 4 and 8 have 4s in common. You can skip count by 4s and land on 8. We also know we can skip count by 3 and land on 9, all right? So I'm going to turn my board around. I'm going to mark out 4, and I'm going to mark out 8. Okay, if I'm skip counting by 4s, how many 4s are in 4? 1, right? Okay, and if I'm skip counting by 4s, how many 4s are in 8? 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay? A lot of you, when you looked at that, you would have yelled at me and said, oh, 4/8, that's half, Miss Robinette. You would have been correct. See, we're just replacing 4/8 with what looks like half. All right? The 3 and the 9 are the same way. We can skip count by 3s and land on 9. So I'm going to mark both of those out. If I skip count by 3s and land on 3, that's 1. And if I skip count by 3s and land on 9, that's 3. Plus 3 is 6. Plus another 3 is going to get me to 9. So there's 3 of those. All right. This is what our problem looks like once we get our new numbers in there. So now, look, all these numbers have been marked out. So we're only going to use the numbers that we replaced them with. So we're going to have 1 times 1 is 1, and we're going to have 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? I'm going to write that down for you. 1/6. And if you see, it does match up with what we got when we did it a little bit longer way. Now, I pretended that you could see that you could count by 6s and land on 36. At any point, you can change up the way that this works, okay? If you would have known that 12 times 6 is 72, you could have immediately divided by 12 to start with on the problem up here. Sometimes 12s are hard for kids and they don't remember them. So if not, you could have divided by 2 again over here, and you could have kept this process going until you couldn't think of any more groups. And hopefully, when you couldn't think of any more groups, your answer would have been 1/6. All right? So on that page, if you'll look, there is 1 through 6 on the front of this page. Okay? And then on the next page in the packet, it looks like this. It's the exact same thing. And you'll notice I've marked out work. I'm only having you do the odd questions. All the same. Nothing has changed. There's no word problems. There's no nothing. Okay? So there's 2 pages with this work. Okay? There's the one that's in your packet. It's just I think it was the back of one page, and then this is the front of the next. All right? Make sure you get all the problems done. They're pretty easy. You're really going to have to stretch yourself if you're one of my friends that you're not very successful right now with your multiplication facts. But hopefully you're working on multiplication.com during this time. Maybe you've signed up for Khan Academy. And you're really, really using this time to try to better yourself because you want to be the best 6th grader you can be when you go to the 6th grade. All right. If you need me, you can catch me on Remind. You can catch me on Facebook, snap me a picture. I'll let you know, look at it and let you know what you're doing or where did you go wrong or whatever. Just remember, when we're working on these, last little tip, that when you simplify, it has to be a numerator and a denominator. You can't look at 2 numerators and compare them. Like we can pretend, if I could skip count by 3s and land on 4, I can't simplify that way, okay? If I could skip count by 8s and land on 9 for some reason, I couldn't do that. It has to be a numerator and denominator. You have to keep the balance in the problem that way, all right? I hope you have a great day, and I will be back tomorrow. Love you.